Bonjour à tous, c'est Paul. On se retrouve à Anvers pour le Major PGL avec arT de FURIA juste après leur victoire. Ils sont maintenant en 2-1, ils vienned de gagner contre Big. So, how are you doing, arT?
I'm doing amazing. I was a little bit scared because I thought the interview was in French. Wait, I don't speak that language.
Tu ne parles pas français?
Oui,
Ah,
oui.
okay. And how did you prepare for this major?
For the whole major,
Yeah.
we mainly focus on our own game because we have a lot of different way of playing, and we try to change it up depending on the opponent to play. So we try to focus on our side, making our mistakes be lesser and lesser with each prac. So that was a very intense boot camp around that.
And what was the goal at the beginning? The goal for the major?
Yeah, I would say so that we felt prepared for this major. So I don't really am a person that make goals, but of course, if you ask my expectations, surely I would say playoffs. And if I go like ahead of thinking the future, maybe win the major. I think that we are a team that are very close to be prepared or even prepared.
And so now you're now into one. Has this goal changed or not?
Uh, yeah, like I like to go step by step. Of course, that's 2-1. It's even closer to our goals, but of course that if we don't manage to win the next two matches, that's game over. So we just need to win one more. That's what I'm thinking right now.
And we saw that during the RMR that you are the best team in NA right now. How do you live with it with that?
Yeah, it's actually one of like the first times that we're like the not the underdog in tournament, so that has like a different impact on our team. And of course, that we know that most teams going to prepare for us specifically. Now it's gonna be like a whole new game when they play against us. So there's like a different atmosphere when we play now, and we just need to keep it up. Otherwise, we're not gonna be the favorites anymore.
And doesn't the lack of competition in NA prevent you to go like to a better level, to a higher level?
I think there's like some trouble with the rankings, maybe because Europe they face a better opposition, so they maybe get some rankings that get some spots. But overall, I don't think so. And of course, like we are like the best team on A, but that doesn't really mean anything because if we face like a good opponent from an A, they can beat us anytime if you don't play our best. That happened like two times in qualifiers with Spain very recently, and with Godsend where we lost like two spots, and that's basically it. Like CS is just all like that. We may be the favorites, but if we commit a little bit of mistake, they going for our throats.
So let's talk about the major right now. The first game was against Spirit as the underdog of the competition. What do you think about this team of young people, young talent?
Yeah, that's actually I think that was the reason that we lost the game. They just have like such good aims, and on Nuke we did our job on City side. We could have went a little better for 11-4, maybe 12-3, and that would make the whole difference. And as this side, we just commit like one big mistake that was losing the anti-force buy, and after that, that was no ball for them because they're a very good team individually, and we didn't manage to break their setups and make them uncomfortable. And that was our main fault at that game. Like if you don't make those guys uncomfortable, they're playing like just holding angles. They're gonna wreck you because they're like good with aim, and the M4A1 is just so hard. So it was a very nice game for them.
And now you're into one after the game against Liquid and Big. Was this game against Liquid and Big easier than against Spirit, or you just played better?
Yeah, it's a little hard to say easier, but like it felt easier in the game. Mainly because Liquid we played Liquid for a long time. It's like basically a derby right now, so we know them very deeply. And also with Big, we played them many times on Vertigo on a lot of maps, so we know how they play. And they are those two teams are teams that don't really change much. When we talk about Spirit, they change a lot of their players' positionings, and they're very good aim wise. So I felt like Spirit was, I would not say more prepared, but they had like more firepower in the server that we had a hard time dealing with.
In Stockholm, Guerri arrived for the playoff, but here in Antwerp is already here. Why this change?
Oh no, he was here from the
He was
beginning.
okay.
Yes, for the last major as well.
Last major, he was already here.
Yeah, but he cannot join us in the hotel, like in the place that we are playing. He
Yeah.
cannot be with us, but he can be like in the lobby or outside, that's fine. It's just like so. That's a topic that I don't really want to talk about because I don't think there's like many things that are right now about the way they deal with stuff. I think that's very unfair. With Gary, the way they punish him for something that he didn't abuse. We have the communications to prove it. I was there, I was playing, and I have 100% sure that I had no idea that the bug was happening in that match. And you can see in Notice Peak where we put the entire video with the communications, and that's something that they really need to take account when they punish a player or even like a coach. You need to see if they abuse it, because otherwise, if they didn't abuse it, what's that fault there? Like, there's nothing happening. He didn't abuse it, and it's just unfair. Like, he got like less time because of not abusing it, but Valve did not took that in consideration. They don't care.
Yeah, and that you're talking about the fact that you are together since a long time with Yuri and Casserato. Is it not too hard to include new player in your team because of this?
For the core being together for so long,
Yeah.
you mean? Yeah, I think it's easier to integrate new players, but it's easier for us, but it's hard for them because our the way we play, it depends a lot on reaction and chemistry. And when we put a new player, it's just madness. So he gets like a lot of things happening. There's a comms going all around, and he needs to react. If you get like a CT rotating differently, and we know that he's rotating, we are already expecting some counter rotates by us, and that's very fast paced. So of course it's very struggle for any new players that join FURIA.
And it's your first major with FURIA. Um, is there a difference between the major and other tournaments? Is there a kind of magic?
Yeah, now we have Safe, and he's like our like main Alper, and he's very good. So that's a whole new like Furia when you have like Alper like this caliber. Last major we managed to go to playoffs, but we are missing like a piece. Like I was Alping, and I am like a okay player with Alp, but I'm not like fully Alping, and we are just missing like the firepower. Now I think we have it all.
And last question. There are some rumors about major in Brazil, in Rio,
Yeah.
but also in the United States. What do you want?
I need to answer that.
Yeah.
Okay, Brazil, let's go. That would be crazy, man. Just crazy.
And as a tradition at Vacam, we let the player finish the interview. So you can say whatever you want, even in Portuguese, as Vini did in Stockholm. So
Yeah, no French, Portuguese. You sure?
You can do it in French. Do it in French if you can.
No, I can do português, it's better.
As you want.
Yeah. Rapaziada, é isso aí, mano. Fico muito feliz de estar podendo participar de mais um Major. É muito importante pra gente, como jogador, participar de um evento com tanto prestígio. Infelizmente não é no Brasil esse, mas se Deus quiser a gente vai estar batalhando para estar no Brasil no próximo e vamos dar nosso melhor aqui e lá para pegar playoff e ganhar um Major, porque o Brasil tá precisando de ganhar um Major faz tempo já. A gente vai ver se busca esse sonho pra gente. Tamo junto.
We will try to translate this.
Yeah.
Merci à tous. Pour nous, on peut se retrouver sur notre chaîne YouTube, sur Twitter, sur Instagram. N'hésitez pas à commenter cette vidéo et à vous abonner. Salut.
Merci. That's
Merci
it.
beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Oh no, I forgot. Thanks, guys.